Since I was a child, I've always used my voice to make sound effects, playing G.I. Joes and He-Man, Legos and Constructs, all the different toys that we had, sort of all mixed up together. He-Man was beating the crap out of G.I. Joes, all those strange things we did. We had like Mad Max. Constructs are sort of like I don't know what kind of toy. They just kind of like long pieces with like joints. They put them in different directions. We always made like motorcycles out of them and ran stuff into each other. I guess He-Man was probably like a mutant. I can't remember. But we'd be up in my room for hours just making sound effects and coming up with stories and how this character died. And there was usually like a pit of acid somewhere, someone fall in. We got pretty elaborate with our toys too, where we'd have like stunt doubles of things because my parents, in their search or attempt for equality, would often buy me and my brother the exact same toy. So we had like two He-Man guys, two Skeletors, etc. So what we started doing was one was the healthy version of He-Man or Skeletor, and the other one was like the jacked up version. So we'd always like melt his arm or break him or hit him with a hammer a bunch of times, and that would be what was left over after something horrible happened to that character. So we had like stunt double toys, but sorry, that's kind of a little ramble there. Um, but even since those days, I've always just made sound effects just in my daily life as I'm walking around and interacting with my wife, kids, people at work. I just make silly sound effects for things, and it's a lot of fun. But it actually is very helpful as a GM to make these sound effects. There's a creaking door. You can make faces and make the players laugh. Some sort of monster that's slopping through the mud. You just throw these noises out eh, around your description of things, around your role playing of things. It can really add a little layer to things. I think it can make things a little bit better. Sort of bring your GM art, your GM skills up a level. I'd love to hear some sound effects out there. If you guys want to film yourself making sound effects, that'd be cool. Feel free to come up with any sort of idea that you can think of. Like a horse running down. Maybe it's like snorting for some reason. And I find too that sometimes when I make sound effects, it there's some sort of random element in there, like the way I did my voice there. I breathed in, so maybe that's like a galloping horse with like a pig snout, and it's a slobbering. um, you can really just come up with just bizarre things with your voice. You can talk and breathe in at the same time. I will come from the grave and devour your family. You can do a sort of like a frog effect, where you get some like mucus and liquid in the back of your throat and sort of gargle. And there's all kinds of different ways you can use your voice. Your mouth. I'm kind of been known to make very expressive sort of faces with my mouth, and I can't talk, but I use my face to try to get across an NPC's reaction to things. But I also can use it to sort of make the sounds different. So, so don't be afraid to open it wider, breathe in, breathe out, some sort of like snake man growl a little bit, use like your diaphragm and gargle, do like death metal growls for like evil NPCs. There's all kinds of different things you can do with your voice, and I think probably the biggest hurdle to get over is not being afraid to look silly. You're gonna look silly. Like, just look at my face as I'm making these sounds. Your face is going to contort in strange ways. Just try to remember that what you're going for is the sound. But if they enjoy looking at you while you're doing it, if they're kind of laughing at you probably in some ways, but they're enjoying themselves, and that's a big plus. Yeah, just don't be afraid to attempt it. Don't be so worried that your sound effect is going to be lame. Just try it. The more you do it, the easier it is, I think, to just spew out these weird noises, like maybe something flying. Uh, just trying to ad lib here, to improvise sounds as I think about them. Someone walking down a corridor. Just make sounds and don't be afraid of experimenting with new things. Um, yeah, so I would love to hear if someone out there would be willing to record themselves making sounds. Maybe you do a certain thing really well. Like maybe like a heartbeat. Don't be afraid to put your hands in front of your face. That's pretty lame. Heartbeat, but you get the idea. It's sort of an extra layer to get your players into things. Um, Changing the sound of your voice can really just immerse the players, or at least it gives the possibility to be immersed more. I think it's just something else, a little trick that you can do to get the players so that they suspend their disbelief for even a fragment of the time that you're with them, and maybe just that one moment you nail that sound effect, you nail the description, the way a character is talking, and really get someone invested in what you're doing, where they're paying attention. I've done tricks like knock things off, or like maybe have like two pieces of metal like in my hand, and I'll like slap it real hard on the table to represent like swords clashing or things like that. So not only can you use your voice and your throat and your diaphragm and your chest, you can do a lot of different things there. Just try to, experiment with what posture you have and the noise that can come out. But don't be afraid to use like instruments, like I said, pieces of metal, wood. You can clank things together. Those all can sort of be like the soundtrack or sound effects track to your game. So, yeah, if there's any thoughts about sound effects, how you use your voice, don't be afraid to put it down in the comments, or video responses would be great. I'd love to hear all the strange things that can issue forth out of your mouth, and maybe you can do a better heartbeat than I just did. That was terrible. But yeah, let me hear your sound effects.